Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, Steve on the Level, Thomas Van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Amish Battle Merch, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name Spurley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unimento, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chai Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Yo.
Morning.
Talking about how I used to have a hard time waking up for school and stuff, but I almost wake up every day for this.
You generally wake up every day.
Generally.
I just checked out that new server, the Globe Gangsters.
Okay, and
I set an alarm for 8:30 and one for 9, so that's how it goes. But I've been waking up at 8 since I don't know, last 2 weeks or so.
Are we going to discuss waking up habits, or are we going to discuss the new Globe Earth Discord server?
Is there finally a Globe Earth Discord server?
Yeah, they're called the Globe Gangsters. It's all the usual suspects, Nathan. Blue Marble Science. So what the guy was saying was that, first of all, they're losing their mind with what we say here. Because that's all they were talking about was Earth measured flat, and like what nonsense it is. When you take a measurement from one point to another point, you're using Google, you open up Google app, and you're using a globe. That's what they were saying.
You were cutting in and out for me, but as I heard that...
oh, no.
That's great.
Oh, I've done something wrong. That's my bad. Hold on a second. Try that. Neil, go ahead. Neil?
Yes. Am I still cutting
about Google?
it out?
Now your mic's cutting in and out as opposed to my connection. I could tell straight away because you came in clear to me that it was my end. I've changed a setting now. I need to check that something else works. Oh, hold on. Just because it's Monday, I've missed one step and that can cause all sorts of audio chaos. Sky was a vacuum.
It just took us all in.
We'd all be dead.
Yeah.
But yet they tell you that there's men in spacesuits so that their air doesn't get into the vacuum, looking back on Earth with nothing around it, with high pressure gas, not filling the area of volume, not filling the space. Total lies, part of the religion also. There is no men in space. There's no men going to the moon. There's no trips to Mars. It's all fake.
What? So Neil Armstrong, that was fake?
Yeah, you're going to get to see yourself on YouTube. If you want to look yourself up, the channel's called Nathan Oakley 1980. Did you all hear that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
Excellent. I've managed to salvage it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. What I have to do before I load all my desk up and Discord up and everything else is tell the computer that it's no longer got dominion over its own sound controls. I've got to tell it, Voice Meter Banana's now going to control all the sound, and you need to give control to that. Otherwise, things won't work. If I don't do that, the computer won't relinquish certain things. So I've gone in and gone, oh, sod it, I'll just change it after I've turned everything on. I'll now tell the computer it needs to relinquish control. That should be before I load everything up. But it seems to have worked. It'll probably go wrong. Hopefully it seems fine. So, good. Did you want to hear the rest of that? Because we're recording for Uncut and After Show, this won't come out to the public for a while, so I don't mind playing you this. I only edited this today. Within the last 24 hours, I've done a couple. Do you want to hear it? Or do you want to hear the rest of it?
Yes, I want to hear it. But is my mic coming in clear?
Yeah, you're coming in nice and clear. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe on whatever platform you are watching this on.
Yo.
Check out this dude.
What's up, bro?
Hello.
Hello, you good?
I'm good. What's with the weird camera angle?
So it's a long story. Honestly, it's a long story, bro. Don't let me get into it. What are you doing on here, bro?
Telling people Earth's flat and that outer space is fake. There is no sky vacuum.
Fair enough. See, I thought you were one of them weirdos that showed their face, but actually under this desk you're jerking it. But you seem reasonable because you stopped and spoke, so don't seem like you're a weirdo.
I'm not a weirdo. I just talk about Earth measurements. If you find that weird, then fine. What do you do?
I am a rugby player and a streamer, so...
You're a streamer?
Yeah.
Did you say repair streamer?
No, rugby player and a streamer.
A rugby player? I wondered, I was going to ask you next what the pitch was in the background. Rugby? What kind? Not rugby league or rugby union?
Rugby league.
Rugby league? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you're playing professionally?
Yeah, Wales under 19s.
No way. That's
Yeah.
cool. How much under 19?
Just under 19. I'm 18, so we have to...
Fine. So you can be on YouTube if I publish this?
Yeah.
Fine.
Much better, and, I get to tackle people, so much better. Get the anger out.
Yeah, of course. Like, what I do on here is tell people about a religion that they were taught in school. Now, you're reasonably fresh out of school, but you'll remember in science class them teaching you that you're on a ball moving around the sun. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's a religion. It's called heliocentrism.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a theory.
Theory, if you're talking colloquially, then I suppose you could say it's like a mystic Meg Nostradamus theory, but it's just church rhetoric. Their maths to figure out where the stars will be at certain times has turned into a religion where kids in school are taught that they're on a ball flying around the sun. You're not?
That's mad. I did not know that.
Want to know something else that's pretty crazy?
Go on.
Again, you're under the misapprehension from school that there's men up in the sky floating around in outer space, a sky vacuum, right?
Yeah.
You know from engines, what happens when you create a vacuum?
A lot.
Well, air gets sucked in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right, into the vacuum. A lower pressure's a vacuum. If you need a lower pressure in a car, it's because you need to get air into that area, right? You create a vacuum, it sucks air in. What would happen if the sky was a vacuum?
It'd suck us all in.
We'd all be dead.
Yeah.
But yet they tell you that there's men in spacesuits so that their air doesn't get into the vacuum, looking back on Earth with nothing around it, with high pressure gas, not filling the area of volume, not filling the space. Total lies, part of the religion also. There is no men in space. There's no men going to the moon. There's no trips to Mars. It's all fake.
What? So Neil Armstrong, that was fake?
Yeah. You can't go to the moon via a vacuum and wave goodbye to high pressure gas. Can you?
See, no one ever really thought about it like that.
No, it's part of the Roman Catholic Church's maths to figure out where the stars would be at certain times. In reality, they just need to figure out when Easter would be, and they use the stars to do it. That might be something that you're vaguely familiar with also. But that model, as they call it, it's not, it's just maths, comes from measuring Earth flat with angles to the stars and then creating a ball with those angle measurements off a flat Earth. So you create the ball with measurements of Earth flat.
You're smart, bro.
Nah, I've got a whole team of people that are itching to talk to you that told me all of this, that did loads of research.
Bro, I'm mind blown.
What's your name?
Leon.
Leon. You're going to get to see yourself on YouTube. If you want to look yourself up, the channel's called Nathan Oakley 1980. But you'll get to see that magical moment when you found out that you were part of a religion you didn't know about.
Go on, bro.
Epic.
Hello, Mum. Hello, Dad.
Leon, it's been a pleasure. Take it easy. Earth's flat, space is fake.
Amen, brother. Amen.
That's it.
That was awesome. Like at one point he went,
I've got about 2 more to do, I think. 2 or 3 more to do. And the last one I did, I've also published to members, which is the Israeli Jewish receptionist and her dog know it's flat. Do you? They're both members only currently.
What I was thinking was that if I was told that information by yourself, I'd maybe have some more follow-up questions. So maybe it was just a bit too much for him. So maybe he's just going to go to your channel and learn what you have to say via that way, which is what most people don't do.
Well, although I edited it out, he was a mechanic, so although he's a professional rugby player, that's not going to pay the bills and all of those sorts of discussions, as much as I'm just sort of getting the guy softened up so I can tell him what I'm going to tell him, get him on my side, but that doesn't typically make it to the edit. But in it, he told me, well, actually, my day job's a mechanic. So when I'm giving him the example of gas filling a cylinder, the reason I'm doing it in that way is because he's already told me what he does as a day job. So he immediately recognised what was going to happen with the sky. That's why he gave me the response he did. But like I say, sometimes contextually, there's a little bits missing. It's the same for the Israeli receptionist, dental receptionist. There's a point where I'm asking, you know, are you at home with your parents or are you at home with your husband? Have you got a load of kids? All this sort of personal stuff that I'm asking, so I'm showing an interest in that person. But it doesn't necessarily need to make it to the video. You know, you don't need me to butter you up in that way as the audience. So therefore, when it cuts to me saying, "Oh, all right, that's interesting," or "Oh no, that's not right," after I've asked her what she does, it kind of doesn't quite connect together correctly. But it doesn't matter. It's like what matters is the point where she hears me telling her it's flat and space is fake, and then she goes, "What?" That's the bit that matters. But yeah, he was a mechanic. That's why he got it. So yeah, he didn't have any further questions because he's like, "No, I know how a vacuum works."
it's kind of how I feel it should be for most people. I mean, he seemed pretty open, but he's less abrasive and less automatically against it. And that's how I feel it should be. You know, like you tell someone, you know, gas fills space, and then your point is that, you know, but not that space. You know, it should be pretty simple. I like that he was fairly receptive to it.
Yeah. Well, I have a good laugh doing those videos. I'm sure Neil does too. He's in there and you can see him in the video because I've kept doing the edit, visually at least. And it's a lot of fun, isn't it, Neil, making them?
Typically, rugby players are quite humble people.
Yeah, he certainly was. And happy. Very happy fella.
I love those one-on-ones. Those are the best.
I noticed it gets easier. Like it seems to get easier, especially like hearing your explanations, talking to them, and stuff like that. And that's how it's always been, I guess. But it it's good to see it that easy. You know, hey, space. You know, space is fake, and this is why.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's getting more concise, and in terms of how much fluff is the segueing into that subject matter without them just disconnecting. that gets easier.
Right, you get rid of the chaff.
Yeah, but you get rid of too much chaff, and you haven't connected with the person on a personal level, and therefore they won't want to talk to you about it. Once you've got their intrigue, they just react in a way that says, "I don't want to continue this," and then they just disconnect and move on to the next person. So there's a balance. But yeah, the more I do it, the more I can strike that balance. And editing them's getting quicker. That is to say that because there's less fluff to edit out, it takes less time to edit them.
They're easier to share, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you're not the first to say it. People like sharing those. Good.
I can imagine him telling his buddies at the rugby club, and an anti-flat earther holding a rugby ball, telling him that gas pressure doesn't require a container.
Right. It's nice to get a gauge of what your average Joe has to say when they react to this. My wife's making coffee.
That's a good idea.
For the next 2 minutes, I can't hear anything you're saying. So, just so you know. It's a very noisy experience making coffee.
Must be some damn fine coffee.
Yeah, it's all right. Recently had the machine fully overhauled by Craig, the guy who normally does the computer. So he had something that generates steam and water and, you know, it's more like plumbing in his computer shop full of electronics that definitely don't like that. So, yeah, I'm very grateful to him that he managed to get it back working for only the cost of the parts, which was still several £100s.
Greg's been pretty invaluable, really.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to the guys on the G Plus panel.
It takes a
Yeah,
village to
I too know a computer guy that he can do computers, he can do cars, he can do probably almost anything. But yeah, handy.
Don't tell him that, though. There's two of them. They're both called Craig. And I was explaining this where Huey was basically asking, and he's asking about old Craig, getting annoyed when I'm just shutting him down and asking who he is and being quite indignant and rude. And I was like, well, no, the Craig you're referring to didn't, but his son, who's also called Craig, was a little bit put out. And it's because he's younger and he's not that young, he's in his 30s, but you know what I mean? He's just that little bit more put out when some boomer's really rude to him. I'm like, is he a boomer or is he Gen X? I don't know. Either way. But Craig was invaluable before I had him as a friend. That is to say that there's a good chunk of the show that wouldn't have run in the way that it ran, but for the fact that I knew a really good technician in my town. And when things went bang and I'd turn on the computer and it didn't come on, I would whip out all the cables and without making a phone call, drive it down to this guy's shop and go, please make this work yesterday. And in fact, I wouldn't even have to ask him. That's probably one of the reasons I like going there. He'd ask, how quickly do you need this doing? I'd be like, urgently, it's my living. If it's not done immediately, I'm losing money immediately and I'm on a knife edge as it is. Please get it working quickly with really good parts that are very unlikely to fail because they're high quality. And he'd be like, okay, what do you want exactly? And I'm like, whatever the most expensive one in this particular category is, get that. And he'd be like, okay. And then the next day, he'd call me and go, it's done. I'm like, what? It's here and ready to go? No, it's done. Come and collect it. I'm like, fantastic. So for that reason, I'd keep going back. And then after several years, like quite a prolonged period, because I've been here for many years, as is he, and I've always taken my stuff to him, He just happened to find out, I don't know how, that I was making flat Earth YouTube videos and had been for probably 7 or 8 years at that point. And from that point on, he's been like, look, if I can do stuff to help the show tick along, I will. And that is to say, if it's something that I can do that doesn't cost me money, literally, that is to say, he doesn't give me anything for nothing, Craig. He gives me what would cost money in time. So his effort and his graft, which is absolutely worth money, but it's not like he's having to take money out of the till to go and buy a part to put into my computer. He's not willing to do that. He hasn't got the money to do it, like most people. So long as I can provide him with parts, he'll work on the computer, or in this case, it was the coffee machine, which is definitely not like a need for the show. But on the other hand, it is.
I totally understand that.
It's a nightmare to get a coffee machine serviced in the UK. So I've had this machine for a very, very long time. I think I got it in 2005, and I've serviced it. But people who service the ones that are in Starbucks don't want to deal with a domestic customer. And there's very few people that have got the knowledge on how to work on it, and most people don't want to work on them. So it's really, I've always struggled to find technicians to work on it. So when one day I was like moaning about it and Craig went, I can do that. It's just like working on a car or working on a toilet in it. I'm like, no, to me, it's an amazing gadget full of wires and magic. And I don't know how to make it work. Are you joking? So the fact that he was willing to work on it was like an absolute godsend, because I thought I'd have to scrap the thing. So like, I can't find anybody to work on it. No one wants to work on it. When they do want to work on it, they'll charge me 700 quid or something ludicrous. More than I can afford.
Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Craig. It's both of them, the Craigs. Plus, I do like computers, so when I do hang around with Craig or Craig's in their shop, they've always got fascinating equipment in there that they're working on. Like always, there is no exception. Every time I go in there, there's something interesting going on. Especially the younger Craig. I think the older Craig's just been doing it for so long, he's kind of indifferent to it. But the younger Craig is like, I'll start talking about some fairly intricate technical issue that's specific to that industry, and he'll know all about it and what's the cause of it, and he'll be moaning about how stupid people are that they don't already know what he knows. And he's like, you're a proper specialist, but I like the fact that, these idiots don't know what they're talking about, because, well, yeah, good, you do. He laughs at this one particular technician. There's a technician on YouTube that does repair videos. I won't name and shame him, but he calls himself the greatest technician ever, in irony. Don't get me wrong, he's just doing basic repairs, which is great. We need people like him. So while the younger Craig takes the mickey out of him for saying, ironically, I'm the greatest technician ever, often he'll be shipping out his work to people who do actually do board level repair, like have got the skills to do that. And certainly Craig does board level repair. I see him working on laptops in a way that is so way beyond me. It fascinates me. Like, I used to watch Lewis Rossman doing it under the microscope. So I don't think I've ever actually seen Craig get his microscope out, although he's got a great rig. Obviously some of the jobs that he's just randomly doing when I walk in don't necessarily need a microscope. But, there's various different levels, and obviously the longer you're doing it, the more skilled you get and the more intricate you get in terms of the types of repairs that he's prepared to take on. Yeah, like I say, fascinating to watch. Not that I could ever do it. I wanted to. I even studied electronic servicing in college as like a side topic to performing arts and media and things like that. That was my main subjects, but one of the ancillary, or whatever you call it, strap-on subjects was electronic servicing. I'm colourblind, so I just got nowhere. You know, I managed to get my certificate, but as soon as I did any work, I blew things up, you know, or set things on fire. So I've got a couple of great stories where I've done repairs and then, you know, I haven't repaired them properly because I can't tell the colours. And in some instances, it was on like 1960s or 70s wiring, and it was even worse. The balls up was much worse. So things like amplifiers setting speakers on fire that are playing when you walk the customer in. There's a speaker on fire that's playing music with it pumping smoke out of the porthole. You know, things like that. So yeah, it's not something I'll ever be able to do, which is a shame because it's something I'm very interested in. But you know, you just give up at a point and just go, right, I'll just accept that I will always be ignorant about this. And like in, I don't know if anyone watches Rick and Morty, but the father figure, when he's trapped in some dream world, whenever he goes to open a technological item, what's inside? Well, springs and cogs. You know what I mean? You open it and look in, and there's just springs and cogs, and that's how everything works. In other words, it might as well just be magic inside.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, the Rick character's trying to make stuff while he's trapped in the father's head, and he can't because every time he tries to use anything that's technological, it's like I say, it springs and cogs inside, and he's got no use for it. He can't make anything from it.
Cogs, that's what you call gears, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but you call a transmission, whereas we would call it a gearbox.
Well, that always made more sense to me.
It's a box with gears in it.
Exactly.
I never thought about what Gearbox meant. Like, I play Borderlands or whatever, and it's from Gearbox.
For years, I didn't know what transmission meant.
That's all right. I'm still having a hard time with teapot and kettle.
Teapot's china, and you put the tea bags in the teapot. A kettle is what you boil the water before you pour it into the teapot.
Okay, I guess I get that. It's probably my American in me. I just want to put the bag in.
If you're in China, you wouldn't even do that. They'd bring hot water in a certain pot, and that would be a certain pot that's not for drinking. It's for cleaning everything. So you pour hot water into all the different things, get them all hot, and then you've got a separate pot of hot water that you're going to pour over a strainer with tea leaves in it. And the whole process can take 20 minutes before you just get to drink some very weak tea.
It's the process, I guess.
That's what they do in an expensive restaurant. So it's weird to us, or weird to me, a Brit, because tea is a sort of a regular occurrence for most people here that's coming thick and fast. It's not a process that's to be pondered. Whereas in China, like I say, it's something that you do in a high-end restaurant. We got something we want to cover today. You're normally the one with videos to cover. If not, there's a few I've been sending to Brian. The conspiracy. Why millions of people think Earth is flat? That sounds like it's right up our street. It's you that's posted that, right, Sensual?
Yeah, it is a good one.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's just mute the sound while we play the ads. Curry's ad. I used to work for that company. Anyway, okay. Ben Farr, is that? That's who we're covering, right?
Yep.
Tell us about Ben.
Young American doesn't know what science is, has a stereotype for how people get into flat Earth, and he seems a good guy, and he's reacting to comments and liking comments. So we'll see.
Okay, cool.
I don't think he's going to like you, though, I'll be honest. Or the information that destroys his paradigm, rather. He seems pretty smug about his position.
Oh, he's happy with Earth being a globe, is he? Good for him.
Yeah, he's a bit condescending.
Ah, that's okay. We can cope with that, right?
Yeah, we'll just put it back to him.
Comfortable with a globe makes me think about that this poster they used to hang in my school, and it was just a picture, like the picture, a drawing of a globe, and then some like stick figure people just going like holding hands around it, and it just never sat right with me, even as a kid. And I just think about comfortable as a globe with a globe. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I remember
complacent
that
with a
picture.
globe.
Yeah, colourful. It was like a kid's drawing, but obviously not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hands around the globe, and it's got like the kids all around a circle that's obviously flat, presented to you as a flat circle. Therefore, you've got kids' heads antipodal from the kids at the top of the circle. And you look at it and go, that was stupid. Yeah, it does.
Even as a kid, even as like a second grader, third grader, I'm looking at that thing like, you don't think about that till later. You don't think about that till now. You know, like what, 30 years later.
Yeah, but there were things. Chocolate and I have got a similar story about when gravity was presented to us in school. So I went home after the fact and started swinging a bucket round and going, this makes no freaking sense at all. And it really did sit with me. But like you say, you think about it 30 years later, but it's one of those things that while you say, I'll put that to the back of my mind, I obviously just don't understand this. The act of putting it to the back of your mind does actually dedicate it to memory, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like looking at the ocean and thinking, wow, that's really flat.
Well, yeah, that's part of my backstory in terms of being a rep. When I was flying all over the world, looking out the window at the back of the plane, because there's nothing in the way, I like to look through the tiny little window from more angles and going, I wish I could get higher. It's so flat. But in my mind, I'm telling myself, I wish I could see the ball, knowing that I couldn't see it at that altitude, or being under the impression that the availability of vision of curve, affirmed by Neil deGrasse Tyson later in his rhetoric when he's like, you can't see the curve of the Earth from 2 millimeters above this beach ball. Well, it's a similar sort of thing that I understood at the time, but what I'm looking at is appreciating just how flat it appears and asking, when will I get the opportunity to go higher and see the ball that I know it is? Because at the time, my mindset is, this is a ball, but it's a shame I can't see the curvature from really high up in this aeroplane, or any of them that I'd travelled in up until that point when I was pondering it. But yet another thing that you put in the back of your mind, same with Coriolis. You're thinking, so Earth's standing underneath this plane that I'm travelling on. Why am I getting there? Why am I getting there quicker? But then again, you go, I'll put that to the back of my mind. I just obviously don't understand it, and I've got a job to do. Will someone meet me at the hotel? Will someone meet me at the airport and drive me to the hotel? Things like that. That's what you start pondering. Your mind quickly goes on to something else. But you do still dedicate it to memory. That there's something not quite right and you haven't quite got the answer for it, even though you're pondering it. And normally, you're quite good. You just tell yourself, I'm normally quite good with these things. Normally I can wrap my head around these things. Even if they're complicated, it might take a little bit longer. But this is something that, like you say, from education till then, I was probably in my late 20s. You're going, I still don't understand this. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. And again, I was at the time watching NASA videos. I was getting updates on email. I'd subscribed to them. The channel was called Science at NASA. It was like an email newsletter. And they'd send you all their latest updates with their videos. And I'd be watching this stuff going, yeah, I still don't feel satisfied. And you're never reaching the point where you can go, no, I understand that now. I got it. I can move on. You're never quite satisfied. And maybe that's part of how they do it, to keep you wanting to go back and satisfy the urge to figure out why it's not quite working right in your mind, why it doesn't quite sit right. Obviously, we know now, exactly why.
Like you're deluding yourself, like you put up that block for yourself.
Well, I wasn't. I was like just disappointed. So you'd see, they'd claim that they'd got footage from space, and then when it came to the actual footage, it was an artist rendering or an animation, and they'd disclaim it in the left-hand side, bottom left-hand side of the picture. So you're like, yeah, but where's the footage that you were promised? I was promised on the, the lying headline of this email that I've clicked on, gone to the video that's normally just a YouTube video or whatever, and contained within is not what I've been sold. I thought I'd see footage from a sky vacuum. Now, I never got that. They never gave it. And when they pretended to give it, they disclaimed how fake it was. So it's like, well, I haven't got room to moan. They've told me this isn't real, and it was obvious from looking at it. But where's the real bit? It never came. Now I know why. There was no sky vacuum to get the images from.
No, I get it. It's like you look at anything from that whole side, from NASA, anything, and you just you don't even need to look for the debunk. You don't even need to look for the trick because it's right there in front of you. And it's amazing how someone will say that's not a trick. That's not. What's your problem with this? What's your problem with this cartoon spaceship? You know.
There's maybe a way to lead people into this so it doesn't break them so badly when you present them with the information. So from a third-party perspective, you could describe how somebody else could be born into a cult, and you could use Scientology as an example, or whatever, whichever cult you want to use as an example. And then you ask the person, could you appreciate how somebody born into that religious faith would wholeheartedly believe all aspects of it because they were raised in it? Do you have empathy for that being the case? If they say, yeah, I appreciate that if I was born into the Scientology cult, that I would believe all the things that the Scientology cult taught me. Okay. What if I was to tell you that that could have happened to you? And they're like, would you appreciate that literally if it was you and you were born into the cult, that you would be just as indoctrinated? And if you can get them to empathise again on that sort of half step up, yeah, I could appreciate that if I was born in the Scientology cult, I would be indoctrinated in and vehemently defending it. Right. What if I told you that you were taught a cult-like religion in science class? Would you be empathetic to the fact that you are in a cult? You just didn't know it. So maybe it's getting that sort of half step into the idea of someone else that isn't you being brainwashed into being in a cult from birth to get them to then empathise, and at least by empathy, they've got the notion in their mind before it's them having to contemplate it. Do you know what I mean? It's a half step into the contemplation before, oh, I'm in a cult. No, that's all real, because then you get that, maybe you get a lesser chance of them bracing against it because it's all a bit much, a bit sudden, a bit too much to cope with all at once.
I understand.
I knew there'd be a use to looking more and more into Scientology, and I've kept it on my radar to sort of keep it prevalent. And the more I look into it, the more it's started to dawn on me that is going to be the useful aspect I can draw from it. Removing the guy that's actually in a cult. It's like saying to a Scientologist, do you appreciate that there was a cult that drank the Kool-Aid? Oh, yeah. Do you appreciate that if they were born into that cult, that they would be fully defending that nonsense? Oh, yeah. Could it be the case that if you were born into that cult of the Kool-Aid, that you would be the one drinking the Kool-Aid? Oh, yeah, I can appreciate if I was born into it and indoctrinated. Right. What about Scientology? Do you appreciate that that could be a cult? Well, I mean, that couldn't be a cult, could it? Well, you just appreciated that the Kool-Aid cult was a cult. Why wouldn't you? You know, and that's so it goes on. Same example, but with Scientology as the cult. But you can do the exact same thing with heliocentrism. Doesn't matter which cult you pick. Ask them if they know of any cults. Pick the cult that they pick.
It's easy enough to see through, a lie's a lie.
I don't think it is. I think if you're born into it, like I'm trying to say, if you're born into it, you might brace against it, and less people brace against it in the way that we experience on Flat Earth debate. Now, that should be obvious. We're hyper-focused on the subject, so we're going to get the zealots. But your average normie, I thought there'd be a higher percentage that would just instinctually brace against it because of the indoctrination. Most people are like, wow, I never thought about it like that.
Like Leon, like he what did he say? He just said he went.
Yeah. People can't quite believe there is. There's another one I did. Do you want to do the other one?
We have 7 or 8 minutes, so if you want
about
to.
How long it lasts.
Please.
I'll stick it on as we've got enough time. 4 minutes long. Give me a sec to queue it up.
Isn't it staggering?
The way the Earth's measured is flat, and the way that the ball is created is with those measurements.
We got 4.
He knows it's flat.
What?
The dog knows it's flat. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe on whatever platform you are watching this on.
Hi.
How old are you?
21.
Ah, excellent. So you can talk to me and go on YouTube then.
Go on YouTube?
Yeah, I make videos. That's what I'm doing now. What do you do?
I'm a secretary at a dental clinic.
Oh, proper job. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, fair enough. Good for you. Did you know Earth's flat and that outer space is fake?
What?
Did you know that Earth is measured flat and that outer space is fake?
Oh, yeah, one of those.
What, one of them that talks about measurements?
No, one of those people who thinks that Earth is flat.
No, I don't think it. It's measured flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Earth is measured. Flat.
And also Santa Claus exists.
Are you one of those people that was taught that you're on a ball going around the sun by your school?
Not just by my school, but yeah.
Yeah, one of those religious believers in a Roman Catholic religion.
No, there's nothing religious about that.
Came from the Roman Catholic Church 500 years ago. It's called heliocentrism. It's a religion that you were taught in school. You're one of them.
I live from Israel. What Christianity you're talking about? Like, they don't teach us Catholicism, Christianity in school.
You went to a church school. All schools are run by churches, aren't they?
I live in a Jewish state.
Doesn't matter. Jews still think Earth's a ball moving around the sun, as per the Roman Catholic Church religion of heliocentrism that was invented 500 years ago. It's even got a name. The Copernican model. That's a man who invented that religion 500 years ago. That's your religion. You're one of them religious believers in being on a ball moving around the sun. That's you.
Okay.
Me, I know how Earth's measured. It's measured flat. Like for the maps that are flat, and for the navigation that's flat, and the flights that are flat. That's all measured. Flat.
Map is flat because it's a piece of paper. It's a layout. Doesn't mean that Earth is flat.
That's how it's measured.
Do you know what a layout is?
A layout?
Yeah.
No, fill me in.
That's what a map is, the layout. The I don't know how to say it in English.
Yeah, the Earth's laid out flat.
No, it's because
Yeah, that's how we measure it. Are you aware of something called latitude and longitude?
no, it's not what.
Okay. Are you under the impression that there's men floating around you in spacesuits, in rockets?
In this moment, I don't know, but probably, yeah.
But wouldn't the gas that you're breathing fill the vacuum? Like, they're in suits to stop the gas filling the vacuum, aren't they? Like spacesuits. But they're looking back on Earth with gas on it, not filling a vacuum. It's nonsense because it's part of the religion that you were taught in school of being on a ball in a vacuum. You're not.
So, like, science is a religion now?
No, science class taught you a religion. Science is a method for establishing the cause of natural phenomena. Science has nothing to do with this. This is maths. The way the Earth's measured is flat, and the way that the ball is created is with those measurements.
We got 4.
He knows it's flat.
What?
The dog knows it's flat.
Okay.
See you later.
None that's been. Yeah, Black Swan.
Is there still people getting to grips with that from the globe side? It's been almost 5 years.
I don't hear.
Yeah, they still talk about the
Coach over-
platforms.
Go ahead,
Still
my bad.
address the argument. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Say again, George.
They still mention the platforms. You know, they don't address the argument. The argument is not about the platforms. It's distance to the horizon being greater than the distance to the platform.
Are we going out live? I've still got the button that says go live. Hold on a second.
No, you're not.
Oh, what a bummer. We just did a whole live intro. I pressed the live button in YouTube Studio. It went live, gave me the whirly whirl, and then it didn't go live. So that was the second time I've done that introduction. Weird. But there we go. It's completely thrown me. So there we go. What's everyone been up to over the weekend? Anything exciting? Any evidence of Earth curve?
None that haven't been Black Swanned away.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the Black Swan in the live show that didn't happen for 7 minutes. Black Swan. Yeah, we were talking about people still not getting to grips with it after 5 years. Now we're all caught up, right? That was where we were roughly at.
I mean, there's specific math, official math, and it's bunked with as little as a zoom. So it's pretty nice.
I asked, and I'll ask again, are they still getting to grips with this after 5 years almost of Black Swan information being out there? The anti-flat earthers, that is.
Oh, grips. Grip is like, think about measured flat. It works together with Black Swan. So obviously they're coming to grips. Whether it's a positive reaction or not is their own choice.
Yeah, well, when you beg the question of a sphere Earth radius 3959 and declare that the observer's height at 1.2 times the square root of it will give you a geometric horizon below surface level, you're already inferring a flat Earth that you need for that calculation. So it ties into the Black Swan based on the fact that, yes, Earth's measured flat to infer that you can get your height above sea level, a parallel line with it, and derive a point below surface level and call it Earth curve. So yes, kind of see where you're coming from, Adam.
I like John's quote, they need the flat Earth more than we do. It's true.
Did anybody catch Ballbusters over the weekend?
Yeah.
Yep.
All 6 hours.
6 more hours.
Yeah, it was like a horrendously long night. I was up till about 4 a.m. In any event, the guy that we were covering, I can appreciate that while the criticism was valid, it kind of upsets me that as that dude has wandered his way into flat Earth and is just meandering his way through what's out there. We know what's out there and how it's garbage. He does not. And having meandered his way through, he's got limited praise from us when he's kind of, as Adam put it, plagiarized some of the arguments that we put across without necessarily fully understanding them. Well, you kind of want to nurture those people who are at least out doing this into having better arguments. But I just felt the way that we approached it was just so harsh. I don't know. Does anybody else agree?
When I first came around, I remember it was couldn't be the second time that I had visited chat, and I remember Wally coming and being like, "Oh, did you see my globe Earth proof?" And it wasn't long after that when Bob, the science guy, would come at me, and Phil, he would give you the crap that he's got through HIF. And one thing that underlied the whole thing was they always wanted me to start debating them. I was new at this, and that's the point, I think, is that they would like newbies. They would like the people who aren't sure, who have questions that don't have answers yet, and aren't okay with the questions that actually don't have answers.
Yeah, I think you're right. What they project out onto us in terms of their fear of debating. Yeah, the new guy, it's just, I said this at the time, it's our way of doing things, so it's never going to change. It's just a conflict with me as a YouTuber versus me as a flat earther in what we specifically do as flat earthers, knowing Earth is flat. How we do that with the harshest of critiques, sometimes absolutely necessary, isn't going to grow your audience, and I'm acutely aware of that when we're doing it. By the same token, from a purely empathetic point of view, you go, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that, with such enthusiasm and a vague grasp of some of the arguments. Yes, a lot of Witsit and Ethereum nonsense thrown in, but you just think that person could be set on the right track. They're going to come across us because he's going to be looking at this, we're covering him, so, he's going to want to watch it. Someone will share it with him. It's just a shame, I don't know. There's probably nothing I can do about this. It's just how I'm feeling and thinking about it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah?
How does a distance to the horizontal will give you a curvature of a sphere?
It won't. You can derive it mathematically based on Earth curve mathematics. It won't give you a physical geometric sphere edge below surface level that you're measuring to give you that inference. You can't infer things that are below a surface that's level if you're measuring it level to claim that there's something below it that's called Earth curve. That's ludicrous, isn't it, George?
Yeah, absolutely, because the horizon by definition is horizontal. So having a distance to a horizontal will never give you a curvature.
No. But you can infer that how low the point in the distance we call the horizon is derivable from perspective laws could also be inferred to be a geometric point below the surface level, calculable at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet when deriving it with surface level and that observer's height from sea level, parallel with it. You'd need flat Earth and an eye level parallel with it to claim that there's a geometric point below the surface level that's parallel, derived with a horizon if you raise in altitude. The horizon's formed with the ground is below you, therefore there is a tiny amount of drop or dip, depending on how you want to call it, to the horizon when you raise. That is to say, while the horizon does appear to rise to eye level, as you rise in altitude, it appears to get higher with you as you widen the angle to it. But the ground is literally forming that point in the distance. The optical dissolution point we call the horizon is formed with the ground, and that is below you. Well, with that information, a parallel ground, flat, and an eye level parallel with that can give you the mathematical capabilities to infer Earth curve below the surface level that you've raised up from.
Oh, I see, the dingleberry.
Yeah, that would be Dingleberry. Yeah, you're right. It's tangent plane in the Earth curve.
Yeah.
Yes, Dingleberry Earth. Correct.
Exactly. Same thing that Thunderfoot draw on his explanation. He draw a level plane with a dingleberry underneath.
Yeah, the level plane's the bit you're using and measuring. The dingleberry has no relevance, and because it has no relevance, he has to transfer it like the diagram on screen into hell to give a plane of reference in hell some semblance of use with the angle measured on the surface that he's claiming is a single point tangential to a globe that he's not using. Or to be more accurate,
Well,
not
he knew
measuring.
exactly what instruments to use to measure his angles.
Yeah, he used a protractor.
And the level.
And a spirit level, yeah.
And spirit level. And the polyester a flat surface. Damn it.
Yeah, we measure Earth flat.
Yeah, but despite
That's
all
correct.
that,
We measure the
when
Earth
I
flat.
look out at the horizon at the beach, it does look a bit curvy.
That's lovely. And
unfortunately, that's good enough for some people.
That's good enough, is it? No, the horizon is horizontal. Useful, that fact. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you think it looks like.
Yes, because there are no horizontal planes on the sphere.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily need to decry what you don't have on a sphere. We definitely utilize horizontal, perpendicular, parallel, all of these principles when we're measuring Earth. Utilizing Earth, navigating Earth, flying over Earth, building on Earth. And you can make a globe with those same measurements, You can create a whole religion based on those measurements of a flat Earth.
Oh, yes, you can.
I think that's the biggest knife that there is to offer. Yes, we're always going to win with better arguments that example how Earth's measured flat, like pitch data. Superb. It's proper chef's kiss, that one. But in terms of the dagger in the heart for an anti-flat earther, the fact that your globe belief comes from flat Earth measurements, that's heartbreaking.
Well, you need to draw a circle and then back the question and assume that circle now is a sphere. From 2D goes to 3D all of a sudden. Because what they have is a circle of equal altitude for latitude on its largest size, the equator or whatever they call it. And from that circle, they convert it somehow into a sphere. They flip the protractor upside down and they turn it into spherical.
Yeah, like on screen. You measure the angles of a flat Earth, you can project those angle points via conversion, have a sign, onto a glorified protractor around your position. And then through that globe Earth that you've created, you can continue the angles from hell to the celestial sphere, North Pole and South Pole centric, in that model, or mathematical inference. I have to get out of the habit of calling it a model, where you have a South Pole centric and North Pole centric, both flat, sandwiched antipodal with a celestial sphere wrapped around it, and a globe Earth inside that represents the protractor that measured both of those antipodal flat planes that create the celestial sphere. So it's two flat Earths, one upside down from the other. It's just a mathematical way
Exactly.
of representing two separate models. Again, I'll have to get into the habit. Two separate ways of mapping the stars with respect to their ground positions above the ground.
And you don't need a hover sign to find latitude.
No,
you also don't need a hover sign to have an elevation angle to the sun, to navigate either in the north or in the south, for that matter.
No,
if you're using the sun.
You need
That's
a hover
why
sign to project the points off the flat plane into being a globe wrapped around you, so that you can project the points with the angles through a globe to the celestial sphere. So it's a way of projecting and mapping the points out to a spherical surface. It's the conversion from latitude and longitude as a measured angle-based system up onto a globe around your position in hell. That's what you need, that conversion. But the angles still function from the equatorial or extended celestial planes. That's how they function. So if you're going to infer after creating the globe that this has some semblance of use, you have to take it as being only applicable at vernal equinox to negate tilt and have a plane match with the two different systems, sun and stars. So it's very limited in terms of its capability of actually matching. But even then, you're still inside the globe that you've projected out through Haversine conversion around you. It's that projection that then gets turned into Mercator projection. If you then project those points that you've converted out again onto a cylinder, so you wrap a cylinder around that globe that you're in hell measuring angles through the globe onto the cylinder, that's what you can then cut down the middle and create a Mercator projection with. It's nuts, the level of deceit to hide what's going on.
Meanwhile, it measures flat.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you actually have a video to cover today? I've not watched it. I'm cold to it, but since your goats watched it, and it's by a guy called Ben Farr. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, nevertheless. 140 odd thousand subscribers, so popular guy. Please let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that will not flag the YouTube censors automatically, or indeed the videographer's inclination to remove a comment that's rude. So leave him a polite comment if you are watching this now. There's 85 people watching. Please share this show as well if you haven't done so already. But yeah, do drop him a comment. I've put the link to this video, which is called Why Millions of People Think Earth is Flat, in the live stream chat. So if you're watching it live on Nathan Oakley 1980 right now, please let Ben Farr know at Nathan Oakley 1980 send me with a polite comment that he won't remove instantly. Just allude to the fact that we're covering his video, pass on some YouTube love, give him some help in the YouTube algorithm by leaving a comment. Every YouTube videographer loves that. So he'll be grateful that you're interacting, watching / leaving a comment. Please do so if you're in the live stream chat. I'm repeating it a few times to buy you enough time to actually go and do it if you were so inclined, but thought you'd do it later. Do it now. I'll still be here doing my call to action when you return. It'll only take you a few seconds. I'll wait till it scrolls its way up the screen to know that enough time's elapsed. In any event, hopefully a few of you will actually toddle along and do this. The idea being that were he to respond to this video, so he's obviously going to be made aware by you, the audience, that we're doing this, and were he to say, I can counter these points that Nathan Oakley and the Flat Earth debate team put to me in response to my video, hopefully he'd do the same for me and put a link to this video or whatever Nathan Oakley 1980 video in his video, sending some YouTube algorithmic love our way. Pay it forward and all that stuff. So hopefully a few of you have actually been along and done that by now. And indeed shared the show. If you haven't done so already, share this show, smash that share button. Okay, I think that's enough procrastination in that regard. Should we crack on and actually, should really sound check him first. Now let's do that.
Assume that everyone knew that the Earth was round. Because we've sent people to space, we've seen photo evidence, and there's so much science to back it up. But
wrong on all three. Okay, well, we can deal with those as we progress through this relatively lengthy video.
I was wrong. In America, flat Earth theory has been growing fast since 2014.
Not a theory.
To the point that now, 1 in 3 young people are questioning if our planet is even round.
Who cares? Questioning it, irrelevant. Appeal to consensus, who cares? Earth's measured flat. Doesn't matter how many people know. If I'm the only one that knew, I could still point it out without any concern about how many individuals were already aware or questioning the validity of their heliocentric religion. Doesn't matter.
What? That's insane to me. How did we get here? When I heard this stat, it quickly led me down a rabbit hole, trying to figure out how millions of people could throw thousands of years of science out the
Sorry, thousands of years of science. You're in a category error. Science establishes the cause of natural phenomena. If and then relationships based on things happening in nature. You observe something occurring and go, I wonder what caused that. I know, I'll formulate what's called a scientific prediction, otherwise known as a hypothesis, where you suppose the cause of the phenomena you observed. You can also describe those two things, that's your supposed cause and the effect you observed, as an independent and dependent variable. The dependent variable is the observed phenomena, the independent variable is your supposed cause, yet to be varied. When you put those two things together, that's a scientific prediction, otherwise known as a hypothesis. Actualization of hypothesis is to vary your presumed cause and see if it induces the effect. If it does not, you validate, that is to say, prove your null, zero difference result prediction. If you vary and it causes the effect, you have proven the cause of the effect. That's called an experiment. And in so doing, actualization of hypothesis, after observing phenomena, you fulfill something called the scientific method. That is natural science. That is physics, the study of the physical and natural world, otherwise known as cause and effect reasoning, contained within the scientific method. Furthermore, if you do not adhere to that method, there is a definition for that if you call it science. The definition of that which has not adhered to the scientific method and is labelled incorrectly as science is correctly identified as pseudoscience, a claim of science that has not adhered to the scientific method. Now, this gets worse for Ben, because this is a category error. You don't assess shapes with science. There's nothing happening with a shape. Science is exclusively interested in the cause of phenomena. That's natural science, otherwise known as physics. Doesn't know what that is, so he thinks that there's thousands of years of science proving shape. You're in a category area, you don't know what science is, it's sad.
The window. And now, after looking into it, I'm starting to worry that conspiracies are spreading out of control. But it's not too late. Okay.
What we believe, well, this is definitely not going to be referring to us by a stereotyping fallacy in the title alone. They, what stereotyped as all of us, and what we believe, we don't hold beliefs here. Here on Flat Earth Debate, Ben, we know Earth's measured flat, and we can demonstrate that fact to you. Furthermore, your religious belief in a sphere comes from those measurements. That's what we know. There's no belief required.
I want to explore this theory as in-depth as I can.
Theory comes after the description I just gave for the scientific method. Physics. After you have validated the cause of a phenomena, you can form a theory. He's using it in the wrong context because he doesn't know what science is. He's using it to grease the skids of his just so story based on a religious faith he was taught in school. This is not theory.
Because I've seen a lot of people jumping to dismiss this conspiracy. But I think it's also important to hear everyone out, no matter what they believe in.
Really? We don't. We dismiss them immediately as soon as we establish that they're exercising their right to air their beliefs to us. No, we cut that crap down immediately. I'm not interested in what you believe, son. I really couldn't care less. We're interested in what you can demonstrate, what you can prove. That's what we're interested in. In the case of Earth and its measurements, Earth is flat. That's how we measure it, utilise it, navigate on it, build on it, fly over it. That's what we do with Earth. We utilise it flat. And we can demonstrate that by way of measurement.
While sticking to the science. So that's what I'm going to do in this.
No, you're definitely not going to be doing that because you don't know what science is. You've already demonstrated that. You've misused the word twice. Claimed there's thousands of years by baseless assertion without actual practical examples of how a category error about shape has been done for science with thousands of years to prove it. Definitely not. You're not going to be showing that. You don't know what you're talking about.
What these people believe. I thought it would...
These people believe is a stereotyping fallacy. There's no beliefs here. That's why stereotypes are fallacies. You're immediately wrong. I am a flat earther. My name is Nathan Oakley. You won't be talking about anything to do with what we discuss here, because we're not discussing beliefs. Stereotyping fallacy.
It would be easy to find this online, but oh boy, was I wrong. The first lead.
So you think Earth measurements are going to be acquired on the internet? Wouldn't they be on the ground that you're standing on? Wouldn't they be in reference to the Earth that we inhabit? Wouldn't that be where you'd find the measurements? Oh no, you think you need to look online? What a clown. That's not how you're going to find out about Earth, mate.
lead I had was a flat earther conference that happened in.
The conferences won't show you how Earth's measured flat, either. Think these numpties sat in crowds waiting for idiots to tell them about ether is going to prove Earth's flat? No, none of these numpties get that information at these conferences. I'm not there.
Denver in 2018. I decided
I wasn't there, so none of them found out Earth's measured flat. They found out about ether and how the globe is fake. That's what these conferences are about. They're not flat Earth conferences. They're anti-globe conferences.
To get straight to the source, so I found their website in an image and then looked for the experts who were speaking at the event.
We're the experts. We are the cutting edge of flat Earth information in terms of how Earth is measured and how your globe religion came to pass. That's us. If you're not talking to us, you're not talking to the experts. We are unique in the fact we know Earth's flat. Very few around us know it's flat. Many will disseminate their beliefs, which is what you are investigating. You are investigating flat Earth belief. Something we despise here.
Spent way too long going through these videos and going down this rabbit hole, but I think I finally got the full picture.
I doubt it, mate. Earth's measured flat. You'll get that from us, not from these believers.
And the thing that the Globers do not seem to understand, they will go up high.
Notice we were immediately talking about what Globers understand by Bob Nodell, rest in peace. What Globers understand is irrelevant. Earth is measured flat. But we're immediately into discussing our opponents, if I'm to be stereotyped with this crowd. No. Definitely not. Earth's measured flat. That's how your globe belief comes to pass.
Higher and higher and higher. You know, if there was a horizon, it would have to be below you.
This shows us, if anything, that trickery is afoot.
All right.
Not really. You're looking at flat Earth believers.
Let me paint you a picture of an Earth. Unlike.
Why? Let's present some measurements based on your belief. Let's see those.
Anything you've seen before.
What's this? This looks like a pizza pie in a sky vacuum. See this area here? This immediately is a violation of natural law. We're breathing high-pressure gas. Any gas breathed by any person on here would immediately dissipate into this 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum taken from your heliocentric, orbital motion-based sky vacuum religion. So this isn't mine. This is just your stereotype straw man fallacy. Straw man. I don't claim this.
Imagine the globe that you might already know, flattened.
No, if I imagine the globe, I immediately take myself instinctually to the measurements that created it. Flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars. Used by Copernicus and Kepler to create your globe that you believe in. So I can't really imagine something that's come from flat Earth measurements because it's just a mathematical calculation for where stars will appear. Out-of-the-box thinking would take you to reification of that globe in those maths. But we're not on a globe. The measurements that created it are flat. So I can't really imagine that very easily. Easy for you to imagine because you believe you're on one. You're not.
Down into a pancake.
Why? We're not on a pancake.
Pancake is still, not moving, not floating, and not orbiting around the sun.
Orbiting? That's a derivation of flat Earth measurements in the first instance. Orbital motion, like Keplerian orbital motion. Yeah, you're going to need flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars to create that mathematical inclination of the star's positioning with respect to a ball Earth in those maths that came from flat Earth angles. So no, definitely not orbits. You'll need a flat Earth for those orbits, like Kepler needed them.
What we know of Earth is fake. A lie spread by the government and NASA and the world.
No, what we know is that there's a law of nature violation if you claim this is a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum. This is high pressure gas that we're breathing. This is you. and this is a 10 to the minus 17 tall black area known as outer space. In line with entropic law, gas fills space. High-pressure gas expands in all directions to fill whatever volume it has available to it. It's a law of nature. The second law of thermodynamics. If I am to believe, as you believe, that Earth is a sphere in a sky vacuum, where men travel to the moon and Mars, then the gas we breathe would fill the space, in line with entropic law. You believe in a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum with gas not filling it. It's not the case. We must be under containment to have pressure.
In the middle of the Earth is the North Pole.
No, that's based on a mapping system that created the globe. So if you take a Polaris-centric system initially and create a globe inside an extended equatorial plane, then you can infer this Polaris-based system that's come to pass with angle measurements of a star off a flat plane. Why would we have Polaris in the middle? Oh, that's because it's used for latitude. How do we get latitude? We measure angles off a flat plane to it. So now I'm definitely not going to be imagining any globes with this, but you taking that globe and projecting it out onto an azimuthal equidistant projection means that this is a pizza pie in a sky vacuum with orbital motion from Kepler. It's all based on flat Earth measurements, mate. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're far too far down this rabbit hole to see the trees when you're in the wood, aren't you? All of this is derived from flat Earth measurements, mate. You should know the origins of all this crap. You're clawing your way through a rabbit hole that's been dug for you. All you needed to look at was the measurements that created any of this crap. But of course, you're on the internet and looking at conferences, aren't you?
And Antarctica is on the edges. But Antarctica...
No. When you take a north and south centric system that's projected with the extended equatorial plane, north and south antipodal, flat in both regards, and then suggest that if you project that with a system that's called an azimuthal equidistant projection, that would put what is claimed to be an island on the bottom of your sphere that has been created with those flat Earth measurements in the first instance, to a point where one block of land cannot physically exist in the same place you're projecting from. That's North Pole centric, in the case of the North Pole centric azimuthal equidistant globe projection. It forces that ice body to the outside edge because it is directly antipodal and the source of the South Pole centric system. Now, just because an azimuthal equidistant projection that is North Pole centric forces Antarctica to be an outside edge perimeter in that globe projection doesn't mean that we have an ice wall. This is some stupid notion that idiot flat earthers have fell down a rabbit hole, as you put it, to start explaining why we have this azimuthal equidistant globe projected ice wall. We don't. No one's shown it. No one's proven it. It's utterly nonsensical. But to create this projection, you first needed a globe to project in an azimuthal equidistant projection, and that globe was created with latitude lines and longitude lines and the north and south poles centric systems that were measured with angles with respect to the stars that we navigate with. That system, that if you believe you're on a globe, does not function. It must function in a globe with an equatorial plane, extended at vernal equinox so it can function usefully for the predictions that work on that flat, extended celestial plane that is used to gather, acquire, and utilize the flat Earth angle measurements to the stars, where all of this begins. All of it. None of your straw man exists if we don't have those flat Earth elevation angles. That's the origin, that's the genesis of this garbage rabbit hole that you've fallen down, Ben. Please let Ben know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice comment that alludes to the fact that he is in a religious belief of a ball based on flat Earth measurements, that any realist who actually looked at Earth itself and how we utilise it would realise it if he haven't spent his time in a rabbit hole of flat Earth conferences looking at flat Earth believers. Earth's measured flat, Ben. Please let him know. There's a link to his channel in this video that we're covering right now in the info box. No, not the info box. In the live stream chat. So if you are one of my live stream chat participants, please go and let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Don't be rude, don't swear, you'll just get your comment removed. Hopefully Ben will do the same when he responds to me by saying, nah, we got this globe religion by measuring a globe. Yeah, chance would be a fine thing. You get the globe from measuring Earth flat, like I just explained in detail. Ben didn't do the research. Hopefully a few of you will toddle along and let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. There is 103 people currently watching, so thank you very much to all of you. Smash the share button here in this current live stream. Hopefully we can get that up to 150. Please share the show if you've just got here. A very warm welcome. You're only here because a few of my live stream members have smashed the share button already. But if you are one of those new participants, please let Ben know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment, and indeed smash the share button. Hopefully we can get a few more people watching along. Think that's brought enough time for a few people to actually toddle along to Ben and let him know I sent them? I'm sure it is.
More than.
One more time, Liam?
More than enough. Let's go.
Are you keen? No, you've got to give the call to action time. I remember people doing it. It was actually Infinite Plane Society. He'd do the same thing, same exact style of call to action. And he'd waffle on with the same call to action for ages. And point out that, look, if you're still here listening to me doing this call to action, it's going to get boring because I'm going to do it two, 3 more times. You might as well, when I start the call to action, actually go to his video, let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And then when you come back and hear the last call to action, and then get into the video, you'll be like, yeah, it was better actually going to his video, leaving a comment, saying Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me and responded to your nonsensical globe earth religion that you pretended to have after taking flat earth measurements you didn't know we use, or something like that, and then we get into the video. That's better time spent than listening to me do it 3 times, or 4 times, or 5, as the case may be.
Antarctica isn't what you've been taught. It's actually a 200-foot tall ice wall surrounding the Earth to prevent you from falling off.
Surrounding the Earth? Let's see if he shows, what would it be, 80-odd thousand miles of ice wall now? Or if we just get to see maybe a couple of miles at best. Let's see if he backs that. His claim now, because I certainly don't make it. I'm not going to buy a stereotyping fallacy. And the 108 people watching definitely won't buy a stereotyping fallacy. Share.
Off the edges. Around this edge is a significant military presence, potentially funded by NASA.
So what is this conspiratide garbage? Is this what you believed, Numpty? Sorry, you didn't show anywhere near 80-odd thousand miles of perimeter going around the whole of the world. You showed a couple of boats and a little bit of an ice wall. Yeah, we're well aware that there's a ridge at Antarctica. So what?
Keeping you from knowing the truth.
Nothing's keeping anybody from knowing the truth. Earth is dealt with on a daily basis by these boats. What do you think their GPS is utilising? It's using a Mercator projection. It's flat. That's how it's utilised. How do you think the Mercator projection was produced? Oh, well, it's a globe projection. Yeah, based on a latitude and longitude grid that's wrapped around the globe, that's measured with flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris. You described it as North Pole centric on an azimuthal equidistant globe projection. Yeah, we use a lot of globe projections, Mercator being one of them, azimuthal equidistant being another. But these projections are reliant on angle measurements to the stars to create the globe, to then project them back out flat to make them useful.
Above the ice wall is a dome that's designed to encase the entire planet.
Now, we definitely have containment. I don't know about what you would call a dome, but containment of some description is absolutely required for us to be breathing gas pressure. And we do breathe high-pressure gas. So you can't have a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum as the sky. We'd all be dead. We'd have no gas to breathe. There'd be nothing for it to press on.
Think of this like the Truman Show, where we're all held in a glass case.
Now imagine that there's a pump producing a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum just beyond the dome that Truman's in. So he's inside the dome, like in Truman Show, with all this fog and water vapor and gases floating around everywhere, but it's all contained by the dome in the Truman Show. Okay, but then outside the dome, that's 15-foot thick walls, of course, to, you know, contain the sky vacuum that we're going to create. We're going to create an enormous vacuum, like more powerful than any vacuum created ever. And then what we're going to do is snap our fingers and remove all the walls and see how quickly Truman dies of asphyxiation as the gas he was breathing vacates into that vacuum. instantly. Yeah, let's see how quickly he dies when the gas fills the space in line with entropic law. Because that's what would happen. Meanwhile, your version of your reality doesn't even have a container to begin with. We'd have never developed gas pressure. Because the first particle of gas would come out of the ground and go into the sky vacuum to never be seen again. Because it would never bounce off a container and come back again. It would just go into the sky vacuum and never come back. And so with the second gas particle and the third, all of them would just sod off into the sky vacuum, and we'd never develop pressure if the sky was a vacuum. But in your religious worldview, yeah, we've got pressure, not filling sky vacuums, violating laws of nature, but you just go past them and travel to Mars or the moon. We wave goodbye at the Kármán lines of the high-pressure gas as it burns its bra in defiance of natural law and goes down, go boom, boom, because it's got a religious belief in gravity. Completely violating gas behaviour, completely defying the second law of thermodynamics, completely defying entropic dispersion. Because obviously the sky's a vacuum, because just look at the sky. It's a vacuum, innit? Violates natural law, because it just does. It'd have to, because we go to the moon and that, don't we? So yeah, of course it's a vacuum. It's just gas doesn't fill it. If you can't detect my sarcasm, the sky is not a vacuum. We'd all be dead if there was trips to the moon and Mars. We must be under containment. Bit like the Truman Show.
Like a snow globe. This dome keeps the air in, allowing...
Keeps the air in, sorry. We've got a picture of your religious belief in a globe Earth with no containment, though, haven't we? I mean, this layer could be presumed to be the clouds and water vapour and all the gases that we're breathing. Yum, yum, yum. Yummy, yummy, high-pressure gas that we all rely on. Would this area be like my example, if we pretend that this is like a dome, like in the Truman Show? So this is protecting all the high-pressure gas that we like breathing, this dome, from the 10 to the minus 17 torr high vacuum that the clouds are just next to in the globe world of nonsensical sky vacuums? No, definitely not. All these clouds would just sod off into the sky vacuum. We'd never develop pressure in your stupid world without containment. You know, you haven't got rockets going, woo, bye-bye high-pressure gas, see you later, I'm off to the moon. Through the sky vacuum, we've got our spacesuits. Don't worry, your precious little heads will be looking back and taking pictures of Earth with our spacesuits keeping all our gas inside as we take pictures of clouds next to a vacuum. It's all nonsense. You've got a religious belief, Ben. It's just you weren't aware of what the second law of thermodynamics. Were you dumb? Until we educated you in entropic law, gas filling space? Do we need to dumb this down for Ben? Is he a bit stupid? Yeah? Because in his mind, we've got a container around a globe Earth, keeping all the high pressure gas in. Because if it weren't there, we'd all be dead.
Allowing us to live, and it also holds the stars, the sun, and the moon.
I don't know why he's making this garbage up. We don't claim any of this. Anybody claim any of this? This straw man, this stereotype fallacy? Anyone want to lay claim to this? Because I don't.
Negative. Not me.
No way. Nope.
Got a whole panel, 2 panels full of flat earthers. Nobody's laying claim to this, Ben. Why would you straw man us? Like, this is not uncommon. Yeah, some numpty that doesn't have a clue about the subject or lacks an appreciation of how Earth's actually measured and functional would tell us that we're idiots because we think that there's a dome that keeps the high pressure gas in. Yeah, there's definitely a container. Yeah, the sky's definitely not a vacuum like you believe.
On the topic of the sun and the moon, let's look at closer. Flat earthers have taken photos that show the sun setting in front of the clouds.
Yeah, I have done that to take the piss out of idiot flat earthers.
If the sun was outside our planet, how would the clouds end up behind it? Instead,
yeah, they wouldn't. It's just a camera effect. It's stupid. I got the sun to be in front of a tree that's 200 yards away from me. Clouds? I got it in front of a tree. It wasn't really in front of a tree. You're an idiot.
Instead, the sun and the moon are inside the dome, circling the North Pole, with the sun acting like a spotlight, heating the areas it shines on. And this alone proves why the moon is visible to us during the day. Okay, this is sounding pretty good. But this theory is harder to pin down than I thought it would be, because it turns out there isn't just one flat Earth theory. There are a few collective groups.
No, a few collective groups, perhaps, but theory, you don't know what the word means. You keep misappropriating this word to what lends some false valor that the stereotype of a flat earther is stolen. No, I'm not going to ascribe that kind of sense and logic to you. You just don't know what the word means. It's not theory. Theory is based on the actualization of a hypothesis, otherwise known as an experiment. If you validate your presumed cause, you can then form theory. This is not that.
Like the Flat Earth Society and the Flat Earth International Conference, but there are also thousands of independents, each with their own opinions and theories about the Earth. Flat Earth is complicated, and
no, not really. We measure Earth flat, we build on Earth flat, we navigate flat, we chart the world flat, we fly over the world flat. Everything we do with that regard references any measurements of Earth are flat. It's that simple. Altitude, flat. Sea level, flat. It's all flat. That's how we deal with Earth. That's not complicated. It's really simple. No belief is required.
And it's always changing. Thankfully, though, this means they've done their due diligence. They've done experiments to prove to us that the Earth...
Oh, you smug bastard. Experiments? What, for a shape in a category error? Oh, I can do that too. Yeah. Yeah, who was it? Was it you, Liam, that was saying he was smug?
Absolutely.
Oh, Ben. You don't know what an experiment is, do you, clown? You haven't done your due diligence and figured out what science is. How disappointing. Yeah, I can do that too, Ben. You utter clown.
Is flat. Okay, so first I present to you this image of Chicago's skyline from across Lake Michigan. According to flat earthers, this photo wouldn't be possible if the Earth was round.
Yeah, notice how flat earthers are talking about what a globe Earth can't do. Yeah, these are pretender clowns. They're not flat earthers. Who cares what they say a globe Earth can't do? Earth's measured flat. The mathematical inference that this has got something to do with Earth curve will require a horizontal plane of reference to derive this Earth curve geometry, existent only because we have a flat Earth to measure in the first place. Well, that flat Earth used to create an inference of a sphere Earth edge that is what? Not possible on a globe Earth, according to what? Flat Earthers? Yeah, this is kind of convoluted, isn't it? I'm a flat Earther. Earth's measured flat. That's it. That's not complicated. This pretender clowning from believers in a flat Earth telling you what a globe Earth can't do. No. The globe Earth that they say can't do something came from flat Earth measurements also. Let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the genesis of what we actually do with Earth when we measure it. Not what comes after the measurements of a flat Earth, turned into a globe, utilised with flat Earth elevations off a surface level to infer sphericity based on an Earth curve edge below surface level, for flat earthers to say, based on that sphericity that doesn't exist derived from flat Earth measurements, we've got an image that doesn't match it. This is a definite rabbit hole that we do not claw out of. Earth is simply measured flat. Not only measured flat for us to say, here's how we utilise, build on, navigate, map, chart Earth, but also here's how your globe Earth that apparently flat earthers say doesn't work, was also measured with the same exact elevation angles to the stars off a flat plane. It's the same. You need that for a globe also. So telling me what a globe Earth doesn't do when you take pictures of things and compare it to globe Earth maths that are derived from flat Earth angles, you're missing the wood for the trees. The genesis of all these claims are flat Earth measurements in the first instance.
Because the skyline is 60 miles away, and the curvature of the Earth...
60 miles is a linear distance on a flat plane. That's why you've got this charted out in Google Earth flat. That distance is a flat distance. Miles are flat. Linear, not curving. So why are you talking about linear, flat, straight distances on straight, flat maps and then inferring some sort of sphericity? No, you got linear distances on flat maps, idiot. Why are you presenting this on screen? There's no curve to this, you clown.
Earth would make it impossible to see the skyline.
Sorry, see the skyline? You've got a straight line distance represented on a map that's useful for your example. It's flat. Linear distance, miles. Hello? These aren't curve miles. This isn't a curve map.
But that's not all.
Well, not all. You've just shown flat references to flat distances on flat maps. But that's not all. Where was your fundy sphere belief in those measurements and utilisation of a flat plane? With Google Earth referencing flat elevation profiles with respect to a flat reference sea level. It's all flat, mate. Pack it up. Earth's flat. Welcome to flat Earth. You just exampled it.
Vlog. This guy, Daryl, took a flight from North Carolina to...
All right, this was back in the day, what, 8 years ago? Pitch data, mate. Don't need to reference Daryl on a plane with a spirit level when we've got pitch data. Also with respect to a horizontal plane of reference sea level. Planes fly nose up with respect to horizontal. We can demonstrate it physically with the measurements. Pitch data from the NTSB. Those are measurements of a flat Earth. I couldn't give a crap what Daryl Marble did 8 years ago. Earth's measured flat. Flights are flat. They're negotiating a horizontal plane, and we can prove it with measurements.
To Seattle. On this flight, he brought a level because...
Really? 8 years ago, he's got a spirit level. In 2024, we got pitch data, mate. That's what we'd slap on the desk to you now, but you need to go back 8 years to Daryl Marble on a flight with a level. How fascinating. It is actually genuinely useful, as much as you're trying to demean it. He demonstrated with a spirit level what we have in measurements from the NTSB. He proved it with a spirit level in practical application. At least he's out there. Is he on the internet looking at forums? No, he went out and did something, didn't he? Flew over the ground and showed how he had a reference to horizontal the entire way. It didn't nose down. That is genuinely useful, as much as you're mocking it. But meanwhile, we've got much more hard and fast evidence that's life and death. That is to say, in the event of accidents involving aircraft, the NTSB used data that references a flat Earth and shows unequivocally that we measure the flight with respect to nose up over a horizontal plane. We can demonstrate that. Pitch data. That's what we can give you. Trump that. Earth's measured flat.
If the Earth was round, the pilots would have to...
It's a begging the question fallacy. That's the thing that you would need to prove based on your religious belief in Earth being round. Assuming it in the first instance won't negotiate the fact that it's level stays level, and we can prove why that is with pitch data.
Compensate for the curvature by dipping the nose of the plane.
No. Dipping the nose of the plane is something that does not happen. We can prove it with pitch data.
Plane down very slowly, but...
No, you don't pitch the nose down. NTSB pitch data can prove that with measurements.
On his flight, the level stayed level.
Yeah, we can prove that with pitch data.
The Earth is flat. No. I did my best. I can't do this. This is all...
Sorry, what do you mean you can't do this?
So archaic and wrong and...
Sorry, that's a hand wave dismissal and ad hominem fallacy. Archaic? Sorry, he showed it was level for the entirety of the flight. Therefore, the nose didn't pitch down. As I said, it is actually useful. And your response to it is, no, I can't deal with this. It's archaic.
Oh, it's driving me crazy. Even if this theory of the level was correct, the
theory of the level, he's demonstrating it in physical reality, you utter clown. Theory of the level? Yeah, this is another demonstration of how stupid you are when it comes to science, Ben. There's no theory of the level. This is not a naturally observed phenomena formulated into an hypothesis to then be actualized with experimentation to then turn into a theory. It's just a spirit level on a plane, dum-dum.
Curve would be so minimal that it would hardly make an impact.
Really? It's not minimal, it's non-existent, and we can show that with pitch data. So you're saying there is a pitch down, and it's just minimal, and we wouldn't notice. No, the level would orientate itself differently if we were nosing down. That's the point of his demonstration. Kudos Daryl Marble in this regard. But we can verify that with pitch data. It does not nose down. In fact, for lift, they nose up with respect to horizontal, as we can prove with pitch data. So what are you going to do with that, Ben? Tell us it's archaic? I don't think you would get away with calling the NTSB's life and death assessment of the pitch of the plane archaic. I'd think you'd accept it as the flat Earth measurement it absolutely is, backed up with physical demonstrations from Daryl Marble. Bravo, Daryl. Thank you very much. Adam did the same thing with accelerometers on the plane. Basically the exact same principle. Useful when you've got measurements that demonstrate why that would be the case. That is to say, you don't reorientate the plane because there's no drop. Earth's not curving away from you. You are absolutely referencing and negotiating and measuring a flat Earth as you fly over a flat Earth. Not archaic. It's a fact of life. Earth is flat.
In these photos, they literally prove that the Earth is round.
No, the mathematics that you would infer sphericity for a geometric obstruction below surface level at altitude requires you have height above sea level and an eye line that's parallel with it to infer sphericity at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's Earth curve mathematics. I explained earlier. That's also reliant on having a surface level.
Otherwise, you'd be able to see the whole buildings.
Really? You never heard of perspective? Hashtag shit shrinks, Ben.
Not just the tops. But it gets worse, because...
Really? No, you need to look into perspective if you want to know why things get smaller into the distance and disappear bottom up. It's through angular limitations. Not that I need to be explaining this to you. It has no bearing on my subject. Earth's measured flat. We utilise the horizon for angle measurements, navigation, or in this case, for the plane. It's their last resort if they haven't got a gyro. They look out at the horizon to establish their horizontal plane of reference. Very useful. That's practically applied flat Earth. They think I need to explain why perspective makes things disappear in the distance? Because you've got an orthographic belief based on flat Earth utilising Earth curve maths? Oh, mate, you need to look into the genesis of your religion. This is sad. I know more about your bleeding religion than you do.
Because they've even proved themselves wrong with some of these experiments. Let me show you.
Experiments? There we go again with this dumbass proving how he doesn't understand how science works. You're not doing experiments. You think seeing things get smaller into the distance is a naturally occurring phenomena? Even if it was, you're not formulating a hypothesis with a cause and effect supposition of variable independent cause, influencer of the phenomena you observed, validated by experiment. But you're still calling it an experiment? An experiment's a hypothesis test. What a clown. What a smug clown. Smugly telling us how we don't know what's what by stereotyping fallacy, only to demonstrate his abject stupidity when it comes to science and the scientific method. Experiment? Yeah, you haven't got a clue what the word means, son.
In a board and held it up 17 feet from sea level and then had his...
Oh, did you believe this clown, Jaron, who said the word experiment when he shined a light through holes? How is this practically applied? Can you find your position at sea navigating by use of the horizon with this? No? Can we create a map to find our way around the world, maybe expand the territories with this? No? Oh, so this doesn't really have any useful reference to a flat plane, but yet Jaron called it an experiment. Yeah, that's because he's as dumb as you. He doesn't know what an experiment, that's a hypothesis actualization, is either. But this clown show, firing lights at cardboard, is an experiment because Jaron said so. It seems like you fell for the Dunning-Kruger crap that Jaron had to offer when he incorrectly labelled this as an experiment. But now you believe that, did you? Now, Jaron doesn't know his arse from his elbow when it comes to science. Believe me, I've spoken to him.
His friend drive far away, shining a powerful light towards the hole.
So where does this have a practical application? Clown, cardboard, cardboard. Where's this practically applied for anything useful? Will he use this for something? No, it's not an experiment. What's the naturally occurring phenomena here? Oh, this is very much a synthetic effect created by a clown who also doesn't know what an experiment is. That'd be Jaron. Now, these synthetic phenomena aren't experiments. We know what caused this. Jaron caused it. This clown shoes charade of an experiment. Definitely not. We know the cause of this fiasco, don't we? Yeah, Jaron caused this nonsense.
If he held his light at 17 feet, theoretically it should come through the hole.
All right, 17 feet. Would that be an altitude from sea level? Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you're going to measure out these positions and describe them in feet, you're going to need a reference plane to describe them from. Like all altitudes, we'd describe their height with respect to sea level. Yeah, that's because you need elevation off a flat plane. You need a horizontal plane to reference to give you height. So before Jaren did his... Let's just demean this idiot Jaren for what he actually had. When he did his parlour trick pseudoscience, he needed to measure how high off a flat plane the boards were then. Well, he proved the flat earth as soon as he started measuring heights, didn't he? Because he utilised a horizontal plane of reference to get them. You need a flat earth for heights. There is no up and down in feet or meters off a curved globe earth. There's only in and out. There is no horizontal plane of reference to get heights above sea level from. You need a flat earth for that. Now, if Jaren had half a brain, he'd realise that before he did anything, that's a parlour trick pseudoscience, the anything is parlour trick, he'd need a flat earth to measure the heights with. But Jaren's too dumb to realise he's another idiot that can't see the wood for the trees. Oh, well, I know how high the boards were off a flat earth. Let's start proving how flat earth is. Dumb. You need a flat earth to measure heights. Altitudes are with respect to sea level. That's sea level. A flat earth plane of reference. Earth's measured flat. It was done before Jaren basically just made a load of flat earth believers look like idiots that don't know what science is. Now you, Ben, also don't know what science is, so you got Jedi mind tricked by Jaren the Clown too, didn't you? Because you're alluding to this being an experiment too. What, just a failed experiment? Experiments can never fail. As I detailed right at the beginning of this, you validate a null if your independent variable fails to induce the effect. You put a tick next to your null hypothesis, if A, not B. Oh yeah, that was the result. Tick, proven. That's what science does. It's empirical. No matter what the outcome, if your independent variable fails to induce the effect, you prove your zero difference prediction. No matter what you do, you're proving something. That's not what Jaren's doing. There's no empiricism. It's not even validatable through science because we already know the cause. It's a man inducing a synthetic effect.
Or because the Earth is flat. And
it is. We got the heights off that flat plane, sea level.
I'll just play the clip for you.
Enrique, how high is your light?
Off a flat Earth, Jaren. Dum-dum. How high is it off sea level?
17 feet.
Off sea level.
It's as... we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
I can disprove flat Earth all I want, but
no, you can't. What were you disproving by showing Jaren seeing a light? Who gives a crap? That didn't disprove anything.
That's just not why we're here. So
no, you won't ever be disproving it. You'll never be here to disprove it. That's how it's measured.
Let me share one more example in case you're still not convinced.
Convinced by what? Jaren held a light up and said the word interesting. Is that your proof that we're on a globe? Are you taking that to be, what, a practically applied flat earth measurement? Useful for something beyond Jaren's misappropriation of the words of science? Now I'm thinking no, that was pretty useless.
Okay, so I live in the flight path of my local airport, right?
Oh, wonderful. Pitch data. Should go and get some pitch data from one of those flights. It'll show you how flat Earth is. There's a horizontal plane of reference being used to describe the pitch of the plane with respect to that horizontal reference that Earth is. You need a flat Earth for that pitch data, mate. You saw it on D. Marble's level. That was a practical example of the same thing. As we've got measurements now, it's a bit superfluous, but praise be to Daryl Marble, well done. And Adam, who did the same thing with accelerometers. Showed how the plane doesn't pitch down. You said it just pitches down a little bit and you wouldn't notice. No, you'd have to reorientate the plane and the level would have shown that. No, you definitely have it in the pitch data and we don't. We've got a flat Earth in the pitch data. So why are we now going back to how the flights work around you? Well, maybe we'll find out.
Anytime I see a plane flying overhead, my girlfriend and I have a game where we try and guess to see where it's going. So I have this app on my phone called Radar Box, and
Radar's flat. So you're scanning these planes with respect to a horizontal plane of reference for radar then. This map's flat.
and it lets me see the planes that are flying overhead. When I look in the app, though, there are some paths that have intense curvature flying over me.
Is this guy kidding? The map's flat, and the curves are going from left to right in a horizontal orientation. But he's saying that that's curve? Is he having a laugh? Ad break.
Flight from California to London. Look at the curve on that thing, and it's literally flying over Canada. If you
Right, so the curve with respect to the Mercator projection. Okay. Yeah, you've got a flat square grid system on the Mercator projection that forces the appearance of curve because the latitude and longitude grid is areas of equal elevation. They're circles. So in order to get the transverse Mercator, you take those elevation angles, create the globe with the projected angles I described earlier through the globe onto the celestial sphere. You can then take that globe projection created with flat Earth elevation angle measurements in a polar-centric system and project those points on the globe onto a tube. You then cut the tube down the middle and roll it out flat, and that is the map that we have before us. This is a Mercator projection. The curves that are induced in the paths that are plotted on a Mercator projection appear curved because it's a square grid representation of circles of equal elevation. Both the circles of equal elevation and the map itself are both flat. So what's he babbling about?
If you look at literally any flight, though, they all have curves because the Earth is a globe, and the
This is pathetic. If you had the slightest idea how these maps work, you'd know how this is. Can someone dig out that guy on the freight ship where he's describing this with a Mercator projection in front of him? And he's like, yeah, the way we plot out our distance from A to B is the shortest distance, but on this map, it will appear to curve, even though it's still the shortest distance.
The fastest path is not a straight line like you'd expect.
No, it is. The shortest path is going to always be a straight line, you dumbass.
On a map like this.
On a map? That's a reification fallacy. We're not travelling on a map. We're travelling on the surface, with nose up with respect to horizontal, as shown in the pitch data. Meanwhile, on a distorted projection, something that's definitely going to be the shortest path, no sane flight operator is going to add distance by travelling an inefficient curved path. Nobody's going to do that. It just looks that way on a Mercator projection. What a clown. This is your evidence for Earth being curved. Look at the curved paths his plane take. Oh my God. This is pathetic. He's always the smug ones, right? It's called Dunning-Kruger. Yeah, he's done a little bit of research and thinks he can smugly tell his audience what's what. Wow.
This. The truth is, planes just wouldn't fly this far out of their way to prove that the Earth is flat.
They're not flying out of their way. Oh my God. What an idiot.
Way too expensive to do something like that. So yeah, they're not covering anything else.
Well, it would be more expensive to fly in a curved trajectory with respect to a horizontal plane of reference as shown in the pitch data. Yeah, they don't. What an idiot. Learn how Mercator projections work, you idiot.
The Earth is round.
No, it isn't. It's not spherical, even though that's what you mean when you say round. Flat and round are not mutually exclusive. You can have a flat round penny.
I found myself in a weird spot at this point in my research, because I think I always assumed that we knew the Earth was round for a while, but...
No, we've never known it was round. It's been inferred to be round based on the elevation angle measurements used by people like Huygens and Kepler, Copernicus. Yeah, those measurements of a flat Earth are what you use to create your globe inference that you now have a religious belief in.
I wanted to know where this theory even came from. Going back to ancient civilizations, they had a lot of theories about our world.
So here we are again, talking about theories. No, these aren't cause and effect reasoned, put through the scientific method to validate the cause and effect supposition and then form theory. You just don't know what science is.
Some of these civilizations thought that we were on a disk that was floating in the ocean. Others thought that we were on the top of a cylinder, and others thought that we were on a stack of flat disks. Because to be able to see the curve of the Earth, you need to climb
M Gallery Hotel Collection.
like you're in a plane. And they had no context to know.
Okay, who can see a problem with this picture? So let me get it straight, Ben. We are told that these men, we just see the guy's hand, I think, here. He's in a spacesuit, right? So the gas doesn't go into the black area. Obviously, he's got to be in a spacesuit, or all of the gas that he's breathing would fill the sky vacuum that's 10 to the minus 17 torr in these images, right? So this is a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum, and it is literally right next to high pressure gas. So the gas doesn't follow entropic law. It's not going to fall in line with the description of entropy in the second law of thermodynamics. The gas just doesn't fill this space. So he needs a spacesuit so his gas doesn't fill the space, but the clouds and the high pressure gas can just chill out next to a vacuum. No, Ben. No, you've been lied to. The sky is not a vacuum, Ben. This is all garbage. I mean, why would you ever think that men could look back from a place that can watch high pressure gas not filling the space when they'd need to be in spacesuits? Yeah, this contradiction obviously is beyond you, Ben. There is no sky vacuum. There are no men in space. It's all lies.
That the Earth isn't flat. So knowing that, I assumed that this was the common theory for most of history. But I was wrong. Back in 350 BCE, Aristotle was watching the stars. While watching them, he noticed that they spun around the sky in a circular pattern, which led him to believe that the Earth was actually a sphere.
Prove it. Where's your primary source for this? Prove it. You got the documents from 300 years before Christ? Prove it. There's a little story that you've got that you're telling us that you got when you were doing searches online rather than looking how Earth's measured. But this is a story that you will not back with primary sources.
100 years later, another philosopher proved this while he was watching the sun on the summer solstice by measuring the position of the sun above him and in
that would be an elevation angle with respect to a flat plane, wouldn't it?
In another faraway city, he assumed that the Earth must be curved. And
no, he just measured it flat with an elevation angle, dum-dum. He's just taken an elevation angle. He requires a flat plane of reference to measure it. Let's have a look at this picture. See this? This would be what he measures. Yeah? He's measuring with respect to the sun, you said? Yeah, that's an elevation angle. You can't have a curved surface to form an elevation angle. It's not an angle if one of the lines is curved. Yeah, you obviously don't know what an elevation angle is. You didn't look into what he actually measured because you didn't say it. We know what he measured. He measured a flat Earth.
And using that data, he was able to calculate the circumference of the Earth.
So what, he used the flat Earth elevation angle measurements to extrapolate a circumference? Yeah, we know.
So case closed, right? The Earth is
measured flat.
Round, and we know.
No, he measured it flat. He calculated a circumference with flat Earth elevation angles to the sun.
That for the rest of history. But
so we've measured Earth flat so far.
No, says this one teenager from the UK in the 1830s. Modern science.
Let me get it right. We've gone from elevation angle measurements off a flat Earth, and now we've zipped forward 2,500 years, have we? Wow, that was a big jump.
Is wrong. There is no proof that the Earth is round, and this is all a big conspiracy. So, he writes a book that ends up becoming the foundation for flat Earth theory.
Not a theory. Oh, I'm sick of this. Right. I'm going to round out and ask the live participants, or thank the live participants for tuning in. Anybody want to add anything before I do so?
No, why? Why are we ending early? He's going to stereotype us all in a bit. It's very funny.
Is there a particular part you want me to buzz on to?
Yeah, he's wearing a cap.
Try Airwick Active
Okay,
Fresh
I
Auto.
think I found the part that you're talking about.
And oh boy, is it a train wreck. He gets kicked out of his local church, his own family starts to disown him, and his boss tells him to look for another job. All that Mark has left is flat earth. This whole time he was right. No one did have good intentions to help him. But the flat earthers, they accept him. Man, I wish this story was made up. But Mark's...
That's not true. Not if you came here. What's that? You believe in Earth being flat? Prove it. You can't, then you're not a flat earther.
story is a combination of a lot of stories from people who believe in flat earth theory.
Yeah, people who don't know what science is because they're using the word theory incorrectly and don't know Earth is flat because they have a belief. Yeah, what a shame. There's a lot of numpties out there.
It's no wonder why most flat earthers just don't tell anyone about it.
Most flat earthers, another stereotyping fallacy. Was that the bit that you were talking about?
Aye.
It was?
Yeah.
Is there any more juicy bits or is that pretty much it?
The whole thing is, but if you've had enough, if he's annoyed you enough, I get it.
I don't know. I'm okay with it. I think we've got the general gist and pointed out how Earth's measured flat with elevation angles that he's referenced a couple of times. It's good enough for me. If he was watching, he'd know how Earth is measured flat for his globe belief at this stage. So I'm happy to put his link one more time into the live stream chat and say, please let Ben Farr know at Nathan Oakley 1980. Sent me with a polite comment. And yeah, hopefully he'll do the same for us, were he to respond and say, no, I've absolutely got globe measurements. It's not like I referenced elevation angle measurements to the sun or anything. Those globe angles, they're curve angles, of course. Maybe. But yeah, if he does do a response, hopefully he'll put a link to my video. Anything else from anybody else? No. With that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Hey, QE.
Hello.
What are you up to later?
Doing a book.
About usual time, 7, half 7 for us. 4, 5, 6, 4 or so hours time. Is that cool by you?
4 hours.
Yeah, Adam normally turns up about 6, 7 o'clock, doesn't he?
So 2 o'clock my time?
Yeah. That good by
See
you?
what we can do. Yeah, it's a little late, but we'll see what we can do.
Okay, well, I'll check in at 6 if he's around in, what's it, half 3, half 4, half 5, half 6. Let's say if he's around in 2.5, 3 hours, then we'll start then.
Maybe in and out.
Okay. Well, I think Adam's got a fair bit that you can actually do without your input today. Probably not tomorrow or whenever we next do it.
What input might that be?
I'd just like alteration of the earlier chapters. Like literally the very first one, I think. That will need your input on. But for now, there's things that we've already done, we've already worked on. I've got edited, like when we've chatted through it together as a group, I've got those on video. And I think a couple of the chapters we can just work through quite quickly because they're only 10, 15, maybe 20-minute videos that that just make minor alterations to the chapter, and we've already done the work. So if you are just popping in and out today, then that should be fine.
Okay.
I'll drop Adam a line to say I'll start a G+ group at about 6.
Okay.
Okay. Well, depending on how it goes in the next 10 minutes, I might round out this show shortly. Didn't get an okay on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Jolly good. Anybody got anything pressing that they really wanted to talk about? No, I'm going to round out.
Yeah, could you replay that guy's stereotype of us for QE?
Yeah, I can do.
If you go back about 30 seconds from where you started originally. This is his idea of all of us.
Okay, it's just playing an ad once the ad's done.
At Curry's, we're doing everything we can to help you save energy.
Because when you save energy...
And doubting the institutions, the science, and the government that we
Back a
all
little bit
know
further.
as fact. So, when he gets recommended a video on YouTube showing him flat earth theory, he decides to take a look.
Back a little bit further.
Now, he doesn't believe it right away.
Even more, yeah?
Back a little bit further.
Another hour and 30 seconds?
Try that.
30 seconds.
Yeah. Proof that the earth was flat. His response was, "You sound vaccinated. There's got to be more here." Most of the people who attended the Flat Earth Convention in Denver agreed that other conspiracy theories were true, like that the deep state is real, politicians are paid actors, and that the moon landing was faked. So when you start to apply the lens of conspiracy theory to flat Earth, it all starts making sense.
Yeah, this is one of those times that in some ways, when we detail the Feast of Nonsense, we're kind of in agreement with him.
Let's say that there's a guy named Mark. Mark works hard, trying his best to earn a living for his family. But no matter what he does, he feels out of control. The pandemic kept him from working. Interest rates and inflation made his life more expensive, and he feels unrepresented and uncared for by the government.
Isn't that everybody? Why is this suddenly a flat earther? Okay.
Which leads Mark to start questioning and doubting the institutions, the science, and the government that we all know as...
Oh, I see. So everybody else, by comparison to flat earthers, implicitly trusts their government. Yeah. And that's why we have no need for a voting structure. Because everyone's always happy. No one questions anything that they do. Of course, this stark contrast by stereotype with a flat earther is just wonderful so far.
It's fact. So, when he gets recommended a video on YouTube showing him flat earth theory, he decides to take a look. Now, he doesn't believe it right away, so he goes and does his own research. And he can tell that the people who are making these videos are doing their homework. They sound confident.
So he does his research, and his research is to see if others have done their homework. Is that how, even in a comprehensive schooling system, that isn't how you would be taught, right? Even by his own standards, you wouldn't go, I've gone in, I've been told I need to go and learn about this part of history. So what I've done is I've gone and examined the rest of the class to see if they've gone and researched it or not.
They know their science. They're doing experiments.
It's got Dave Weiss up talking to Professor Dave Explains YouTube channel host Dave, and he's saying they know their science.
And Mark starts trusting them, but he knows that this belief that he's starting to form is not popular. So,
well, that's because he shouldn't really be forming new beliefs if he's just found out he's been lied to about being on a sphere, and he believes he's been lied to by the deep state, or whatever crap he believed from the Feast of Nonsense in this stereotype example.
He keeps quiet, but slowly he starts to share his findings with other people.
What were his findings? His findings were that other people have done their homework. That's what you've said so far.
And oh boy, is it a train wreck. He gets kicked out of his local church, his own family starts to disown him, and his boss tells him to look for another job. all that Mark has left is flat Earth. This whole time he was right. No one...
When he says all he's got left is flat Earth, what is flat Earth a cake? Is it a bank balance? What is flat Earth in that regard? Well, all you've got left is flat Earth. I don't really understand this. Does anybody else understand what that means?
The cult in his mind.
Did have good intentions to help him, but the flat earthers, they accept him. Man, I wish the story was made up. But Mark's story is a combination of a lot of stories from people who believe in flat earth theory. It's no wonder.
Maybe that's where they're going wrong. Do you need any more?
The problem that I'm having is I came after a lot of years of learning how others lie, and in politics and in religion and all these things. There are a lot of lies to uncover, and you learn how a liar lies, and you kind of get to gauge how to tell. And you get to flat Earth, and you realize that there's a lot more lies than even I would want to know. And right now, it seems that he's trying to be like, it's okay to understand that there are lies, but not this one.
Yeah, maybe.
Essentially, just making up a story.
Can I say that this was so pathetic? This was like the story of some guys who trade the drugs, Like all things was difficult for him in a life, and he decided to turn around to the flat earth, and they how to say they give him the open hands, and now he's totally confused because of that. It's so pathetic, my gosh.
You don't dip toes into rabbit holes. You fall, and you fall until you climb back up. And you can tell that he hasn't dug deep enough to need to climb back up yet.
Yeah, it's pretty funny the way he's making it out like someone's slipping into drugs. Like he's walked past an alleyway and is like, "Hey kid, want to see an epistemology?"
That's funny.
It's obvious. With what the guy just recently said about he only dipped his toe in. The fact that he said he researched this and then ended up with a straw man, that just shows how bad his research is.
Yeah, it's what's presented though, isn't it? There's us moaning that we're shoved to the bottom of the list, but it does have a consequence, which is that as you research, in quotes, or what you think is research, it's just scratching the surface of the propaganda that's pushed to the top of the list.
Basically, he created like a flat Earth version of Eminem's Stan.
Yes, it sounds like a sorry tale. And that's his own pain relief. Keep away from this horrible subject. I'm not part of it. I'm better than that. But look how sad and tragic it is to be part of that. Like, okay, you're only making it worse for yourself, because when you find out that it's measured that way, you'll appreciate that everyone's misapprehensions about what the flat Earth that we measure actually is by the straw man that you scratch the surface with will lead you, now you know it's measured flat, to be ridiculed because of it. Yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it? And what do you know? You are perpetuating that ridicule by stereotype that was incorrect, based on an ignorant lack of appreciation of how Earth's measured. But now you know it's measured, what, the whole world will change? No, they'll ridicule you too. So what are you going to do? Deny it? Just go around in your la land belief about being on a ball to get along with all the rest of the numpties that will ridicule you because you have appreciation for how it's measured now? Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But you perpetuated it, so you doled it out.
I'm sure he'll turn up and apologise for misrepresenting us.
I doubt it.
Who was it that brought up the Stan song?
That me.
Bro, you just made me think of the funniest rewrite for that song, eh? Please don't go on wondering why. Well, I can't find a curve. They're telling me it's out my window, but there's no curve at all. And even if there was just a little bit, how the hell does that make it a ball? I guess if you ignore the rest of laws, like all of them.
Very good. Horrendously out of tune, but very good. Dido would be proud.
That was horrible.
It was quite beautiful. It drew a tear.
It is pretty insulting, though. You know, it's like we can't beat these flat earthers, so let's make a flat earther.
They do it all the time. They just invent some imaginary notion of what they picture a flat earther to be. Yeah, get a load of us.
The Discord, they got the gangster server now called Globe Gangsters. And in there, they talk about measurements.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to hear more about that.
Talk about measurements. They talk about flat Earth in there. Cool.
They're losing their mind about the measurements. It's killing them. So this moron says that when we measure distances, we're opening up Google, which is a spherical Earth.
No, it isn't. When you reference the measurements in Google Earth, the elevation profiles show that it's flat. What are they talking about? Reference to sea level. Useful bit, not the zoomed out CGI globe that you get before you actually zoom into the useful charts and referencing that you can use to build. People use that software to actually put things onto the surface of Earth. Google Earth Pro is a very powerful piece of useful, charting equipment, or whatever you want to describe it as. I don't know how you describe a CGI map, but it's still got elevation profiles. The elevation profiles show Earth's flat.
That's what I said. Once you speak about elevation in reference to what, but they muted me, so I wasn't even being heard. But the usual suspects are there. Blue Marble Science, Merle. Who else did I see there? I think I seen Unorthodox. 25 of them strong. And they're all gangsters.
They got to go somewhere. I'm glad they're not here.
Well, the funny thing is, everyone that was speaking was with such anger. They're in real pain about this.
Yeah, why wouldn't
So
they
what's
be?
going on? Where's the gangsters at?
There's a new Discord server, Globe Earth Gangsters.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the land of misfit toys? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's the land of misfit toys for Globers.
Yes. Is it the land of misfit toys for Globers?
Yes. By the sounds things, I don't know. I've only just heard about this.
It seems that way.
Seems that way. Thanks for the detailed description.
My pleasure.
Neil brought it up this morning, but the connection was bad. I don't even remember what it was called.
It was called Nathan Messed Up.
And would the head gangster in this Discord server, would he be the boss of Toy Town?
It's more like Sid. Like the disturbed child that likes pulling the heads off toys.
Oh, from Toy Story.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Sid. I was like, Little Monsters?
Why were you thinking of frequenting it, QE?
Nah.
Got all your pals. Blue Marble Science is in there. Bob the Science Guy.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, all the fun ones.
I don't like going over the same old real estate twice.
No, don't blame you.
They could see my numpty clips. I'm sure most have a corner of the catalog in there. If I were to make a guess.
Oh, yeah, same with me.
Should. They said you should because they said you don't know the first thing about science. I found that real funny.
Yeah, see the numpty clips, see the toe tag clips. All of these people have been destroyed years ago.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to round out with that. I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to Ben for the entertainment in this video. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next one.